Tonight, the man who is supposed to confirm claims of the first human clone explains why he now says it might be a hoax.
An alien sect continues to say their human clone is for real.
She's alive, she's perfectly healthy, and the mother is also very healthy.
Now, the one journalist in the middle of the cloning controversy steps forward. Is it all an elaborate hoax? No survivors. A deadly plane crash in Charlotte.
And all of a sudden, it just flipped over and started nosediving straight into the ground. And
I heard a large boom, and then somebody says there's a plane crash.
What went wrong on Flight 5481? The contrast from this to this.
Have you ever had any desire for young children?
No.
None whatsoever?
No, sir.
Never fantasized about them?
No.
The interrogation of a killer.
Then help us out. Let's get Danielle back.
As far as I'm concerned, my life is over.
David Westerfield, grilled on tape about his role in the murder of Danielle Van Dam. She was sent away in tears.
My life will go on. I'm okay.
Now it's her turn to be the heartbreaker. Why would anyone want to put themselves through a reality TV relationship twice? We'll ask Trista. And our person of the day, a true lifesaver. This is Connie Chung Tonight. Live from the CNN Broadcast Center in New York, Connie Chung.
Good evening. Tonight, the man at the center of the latest cloning controversy. It all started with a stunning announcement from a religious group that believes aliens use cloning to create the human race.
I'm very, very pleased to announce that the first baby clone is born.
Dr. Boisselier has invited me to put her claim to the test, and I have accepted on behalf of the world's press on two conditions: that the invitation be given with no strings attached whatsoever, and number two, that the tests be conducted by a group of independent world-class experts.
That was former ABC News science editor Michael Gillen, now a freelance journalist. This week, he made headlines on his own when he declared the claims may be an elaborate hoax, and now finds himself in the eye of the storm of the cloning controversy. He joins us tonight to explain it all. Michael, thank you for being with us.
Good to be here, Connie.
Do you believe that Clonaid has successfully produced a cloned baby?
I'm a scientist and a journalist. I trade not in believing or disbelieving. I believe in evidence. Seeing is believing. We were not given the access that we were promised to take the required DNA tests, and therefore I have to say tonight there is the possibility that this was a hoax. And until and unless we are given access, there is nothing more that I can say than that.
Well, as soon as they blocked any DNA testing, didn't that just say it all?
I think it speaks for itself. I mean, there was a very plain-spoken understanding. I challenged Dr. Boisselier's claim that she had cloned...
By the way, she's not a medical doctor.
No, she's not. She is a chemist.
So
she's got 2 PhDs in chemistry. So let's just say cloning, the Clonaid made a claim that they had cloned a human baby. No evidence whatsoever, unsubstantiated claim. And I did what I thought was the right thing to do. Instead of sitting impassively and wondering, is this true, is this not true, why not put it to the test?
Well, but you could have done that and not become part of the story. You literally were standing there at the news conference and became part of the story. You used to be a journalist, and if you believe that you still have any measure of credibility, you would not have done anything like that.
You know, if I look back, Connie, that's the one regret that I had, that when I was there covering the news conference with the other journalists, I was sitting with the other journalists covering the news conference, and when Boisselier mentioned my name as the person who was going to put her claims to the test, I stood up and I was going to make a statement that yes, in fact, I had challenged her claim, that I was going to put together an independent panel to review her claim. And as I said that, all the reporters in the room shouted at me, "Go to the podium, go to the podium," because that's where all the microphones were. What I should have done was to stand my ground and just stand there and say, no, if you have a question for me, talk to me after the press conference. But instead, I was goaded to go to the podium, and it appeared to the viewers at home that I was basically entering stage right and that I was part of the press conference. And
But you had to have spoken to them before this news conference, so you knew what was going to happen, and you knew that you were going to assemble this group of scientific experts.
Oh yes. But I'm just saying the visual image.
Doesn't that sound like you were in cahoots with them?
No.
Prior to the news conference?
I don't think so. I wasn't the only reporter who knew that this announcement was going to be made.
Yeah, but how did this deal come about?
That just like any reporter who has access, I was told that she would be making this announcement and that there would be no evidence attached to the claim, and I basically said to her, I propose to you to challenge your test, to challenge your claim. Allow me to put together a team of independent experts so we can put the claim to the test. It was simple as that, Connie. There was no behind-the-scenes chicanery. It was just quite straightforward.
All right, well then why were you so secretive about these individual scientists? You wouldn't reveal who they were going to be, when it was going to be done, or whatever.
I see what you're saying. No, simply because we were told that we couldn't reveal the identity of this alleged mother and the alleged clone, and so I couldn't reveal.
You don't know the identity,
I haven't had any
correct?
access to them at all.
All right.
So that I couldn't reveal, I was just trying to answer your question.
Yes.
So I couldn't reveal the identity of the scientists that I put together because every reporter in the world would follow them to the location. But what I have said to the reporters is, when the time comes, I will reveal all the scientists that I've assembled, and you can judge for yourself. You can interrogate them, you can ask them all the questions, and you will see that we have put together an airtight protocol for conducting the tests. There's nothing to hide.
Well, don't you think that this group is a little kooky? I mean, how could you really even conceive that they might be legitimate? Because I think the conventional wisdom is that, yeah.
When I first looked into the human cloning story, it was right after Ian Wilmot announced that he had cloned a sheep. Remember that? That was back in February of 1997. Sure. And I realized at that point that the technique was so simple that it was going to invite people in the world to try to apply that to the human.
I know what you're going to say, because, I mean, you will go through the process and say that there are certain reasons why you think
No, I was just answering your question, Connie. I was just simply saying to you that when I did an internet search right after Wilmot announced cloning of the sheep, I discovered this group, the Raelians, and I had the very same reaction that the world did on December 27th. I said, oh my God, these people can't be real. But then as I started looking into the story some more, just like any reporter would, I began discovering that once you get past that UFO stuff and the alien stuff, there is a group...
How can you get past the UFO stuff and the alien stuff?
Listen, people are entitled to believe...
You're a scientist.
Of course I am.
You have been a legitimate journalist for many, many years.
Right.
And I'm sure you pride yourself on that.
Yes, ma'am.
But now, I don't know, you know, Michael, I'm really wondering if the public, they hear a report from you, if they're going to believe you, if your credibility is intact, because you did put aliens or whatever, you know, when you got past that.
Right. Well, everyone will have to decide for themselves, and I think there is room for disagreement as to whether I should have stuck my neck out or not. I think I did the right thing, and I would do it again. I just want to get to the truth.
You
Yes.
did the right
Absolutely.
thing.
Of course. I mean, the alternative was for all of us to just sit impassively and speculate, is she telling the truth or not? And this is an announcement with very grave consequences, ethically and morally, and so we are bound, responsible, to find out if this is the hoax or if she's telling the truth.
Sure, but you can do that as a journalist
Yes.
without becoming part of the story, and that's what happened to you. You became part of the story.
Well, I suppose that if, in sticking my neck out to assemble this independent team, I did attract attention. It was inevitable. That wasn't my purpose. My purpose, again, was simply to put her claim to the test. And as far as their beliefs are concerned, as I said, look past it. I meant by that, the people are entitled to believe whatever they want. I mean, I'm a devout Christian, so I find their beliefs, you know, I can't identify with their beliefs whatsoever. But as an investigative reporter, what I found was that these were people who were hell-bent on cloning, no matter what anybody said, and the technique for cloning is well known, it's out there. And plus, a year ago, the National Academy of Sciences held a meeting on human cloning, and they invited Boisselier, Zaos, and Antinori. So even the National Academy of Sciences recognized that the aliens, the clonate, were a major contender that were to be taken lightly.
I will buy that. In other words,
Yeah.
the National Academy of Sciences. But
Listen,
other than
I'll
that,
grant
you
you
know-
this. As I say, Connie, there is room for reasonable people to disagree whether I should have stuck my neck out to test. But I just want to remind people that I was motivated simply for searching at the truth. It was the most natural thing for me to do because I'm a scientist, I'm a journalist, I've been following the cloning story for 6 years. I heard this claim that was unsubstantiated. I challenged the claim. She accepted my conditions. You heard them on the air. No strings attached, and that the testing be done not by me personally, because people might say, well, he's been close to the story, he's interested in doing a documentary. Correct.
Which we had heard you were selling
Right,
for
and that's why-
$100,000.
And that's
So
not true, but-
you know, there appears to be a conflict of interest.
Right, but
there
there
appears to
isn't.
be some quid pro quo.
Yes, ma'am, but what I'm trying to suggest to you, Connie, is that there is no conflict of interest because I was very careful to arrange for the independent experts to be the ones to collect the samples and to analyze them. I would have nothing to do with it whatsoever, so there is no conflict of interest. So I would do it again. The only regret, as I said, is that I was goaded to go to the podium. I shouldn't. I should have stood my ground, and for that, it was an error of judgment. And I think that's the one well, I know that's the one thing I'd change. Otherwise, I'd do the same thing again. It was the right thing to do.
You know, earlier you said you cast some doubt. You thought maybe there is no baby, maybe this is a hoax. But then again, you said that you had some privileged information that might lead you to believe that indeed there was a clone baby. You know, it's time to come clean. If you have privileged information, you need to tell it not only for your own sake, but for the sake of everyone who wants to know the truth.
You know, you're a newswoman. You know that in the course of collecting information on a story, there is a time and a place to do that. And what I have said all along is that when the time comes, when I feel that there is absolutely no hope of getting access to the couple, then I will reveal the experts to my fellow journalists. They'll be able to interrogate them, ask them any question, and you will see.
It's not the experts.
And also the information, Connie. But you know, we accumulate evidence as journalists, and we don't necessarily go right to press. Journalists in newspapers, they will collect information and they wait for the right time to publish.
But would you say at this moment,
Yes.
you are 90% convinced that there is no baby?
Again, I don't mean to be stubborn, but I'm a scientist. I don't like to speculate about believing, disbelieving. Do I have a hunch or don't I have a hunch? I trade in evidence. It's just the facts that I'm after.
And there is no evidence.
Right, and there is no evidence. And all I've ever wanted from day one, and that's why I would do this all over again, I'm quite proud of what I did, is that I wanted to test the claim. This is an unsubstantiated claim. All I wanted to do is to test the DNA and lay it to rest. Is this
All
a
right.
hoax or is this the truth?
I hear you. Thank you, Michael.
You're welcome.
So much for being with us.
Thank you, Connie. God bless.
By the way, I want you to listen to this. A new CNN USA Today Gallup poll found that 86% of 1,000 Americans polled think the government should make it illegal for people to have a baby through cloning. Interesting,
I'm
huh?
not surprised, yeah.
Still ahead, searching for a missing pregnant woman the way Western posses used to search for bad guys. Stay with us.
Next, why did a commuter airliner with 21 aboard crash in Charlotte? We'll talk to an eyewitness who saw the tragedy unfold when Connie Chung Tonight continues.
Avaya. What is it? First, what it's not. A Caribbean island. Welcome to Avaya. Yeah! Avaya! Everybody say Avaya! Avaya. Avaya is a state of pure communications perfection. Here you find IP telephony for about the price of a standard PBX upgrade. And the biggest, most experienced communication services team, hands down. Oh, still not sure what Avaya is? Ask over 90% of Fortune 500 companies. Go on, they know. Reach Avaya, a higher plane of communication.
BrazilianExporters.com.br, the most complete directory of Brazilian exporters. Come and do business with us.
CNN Tonight exclusive. Princess Diana's former lover James Hewitt. Will he sell Di's love letters to him? Only on Larry King Live. CNN Tonight 9.
At the end of every year here at Jim Skinner Honda, we always write our used car inventory down as much as allowed by law, and then we have a clearance sale to move them out so we can start fresh for the new year. Well, folks, we're into that clearance sale now. We've got over 20 certified Hondas, over 40 domestics, trucks, pickups, SUVs, you name it, we've got them. They're all rolled down, and they're ready for you to come get them right now when we clear them out. That's the Jim Skinner Honda on the Circle in Dothan, Alabama.
We were there when you were struck.
I'm so sorry.
With the adventure of driving. The joys of marriage. The pride of home ownership. So now that you've discovered the rewards of a growing young family and you need more life insurance coverage than you can get through work, there's still no one better to talk to than the State Farm agent you've always trusted to care for your car, your home, and you. State Farm is there for life.